Ecamm fam, what's going on everybody? My name is Alicia Way and welcome to Demo Mode Pros. This is episode 2. Now in the first episode of this season, we talked with Marshall Fox, and remember how I told you that he was the person who introduced me to the Ecamm fam? Well, this next person we're gonna bring up, I actually introduced him to the Ecamm fam. Can't you see how Ecamm is the gift that just keeps on giving? His name is Ben Johnson, and he has an amazing YouTube channel that I've learned a lot from. He's one of the newest people in Ecamm, and he's already running a show. He's gonna show you how to do some amazing things with sound effects and the sound panel in Ecamm. So if you're ready to learn how to turn up, you better tune in. Let's go. Ben, take it away. Ecamm fam, let's take it to live demo mode.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but all of these features inside of Ecamm is absolutely blowing my mind. I'm sorry, that was kind of a bad joke. I'm having too much fun over here. What's up, Ecamm fam? My name's Ben Johnson, and today we're talking about the sound effects panel. Shout out to Alicio for inviting me to be a part of the video today. We're here in demo mode today, and I'm going to be showing you guys a really cool feature of Ecamm, which is this sound effects panel. Now, if you guys don't see this right away, all you'll need to do is hover over to your main window and turn on this little music note. And that should open up the sound effects window. It may not be right there. It may be somewhere else on your screen. That's okay. You can easily drag and resize it wherever you want. Another cool feature of Ecamm. Now, by default, you have a couple of built-in sound effects that Ecamm has provided, such as this. Pretty cool, pretty cool. But the awesome thing is you can actually bring in your own sound effects and your own music, which is awesome. So for example, I've created a folder over here where I have a bunch of background music that I play during my live streams. I'll go ahead and play some now. So this can be playing while I'm talking about different lessons or different things, and it just adds a little bit of interest to the stream and kind of breaks it up from just being my voice alone. Now, you will want to be careful about what music you're using for your live streams, that you're following copyright laws. And so if you're interested in finding out where to get good music or good sound effects, a great option is Soundstripe. That's where I get all of my music for my videos and all of my sound effects. There's some other good options out there as well, but that would be my go-to recommendation. And it's the music I use on all of my live streams. All right, so let's break down the different elements of this panel a little bit further. At the top, you'll see you have all of your itemized sound effects with a play button next to each of them. And then below this, you'll see there's actually a folder which I created to house more, music or sound effects and kind of keep everything organized. Below this, we have a plus sign, which is where you will go to add different sounds that you have on your computer. And then next to this is a little button that creates a new group folder and easily move it around. Now, when a track is playing, you'll actually see a little timer over here in the corner, which says how much time is remaining in that track or sound effect. And right next to this, we have a little stop button. Really nice. And of course, next to that, we have a delete button. So if you want to delete it, or you can just use the delete key on your keyboard. Now, to dive in even further, next to each of the sounds is a little gear icon. If we click this icon, it opens up an additional window with further controls. We have a little volume slider here, so we can adjust the volume of the sound, which is really nice. Another place that you can adjust the volume of all of your sound effects is in the sound levels panel, where you can see your mic level, and you can also see this sound effects level. If I turn this up, it gets a lot louder. Turn it down, it gets softer. So I love the flexibility you have there to either adjust each sound effect individually or the sound effects as a whole. Next to the volume slider, we have a loop button. So if you click this in, it's actually going to continue to loop that sound or music forever. This is really useful if you have a folder created of background music that you want to loop. Rather than playing an individual song, you can go up to the folder and hit play on the whole folder, and each item will continue to go through. And if you want, you can loop the whole folder. So this way, all of those tracks will just continue to go. If you're streaming for, a few hours or just a really long time, you can have some nice background music going on, and you don't have to worry about always hitting play at the start of the next track. It will just continue to loop through that folder, which is a great, awesome feature. Below the loop button, we have an add hotkey option, which is really cool. So you can simply just select this and add in your hotkey. And now when you hit this key command on your computer, it will start playing that sound effect or background music, which is a really nifty feature to have. Plus, this allows you to integrate it with something like a Stream Deck. Below the hotkey option is the ability to add this sound to a scene. For example, let's say I want to add some applause right when I change to a new scene. All I have to do is select the scene I want to add it to, and then go to the gear icon and choose add to scene. Now I'll go back to my main shot, and as soon as I switch to the scene I've applied the sound to, it will auto play. Now you may be like, okay, cool, how do I remove it if I accidentally add it to something I don't want it to? Well, that's really easy. Just select that scene and you'll see the audio sound right here. To remove it, just simply hit the X. So now when you switch back to that scene, the sound no longer plays. So let me show you real quick how to create a new folder, bring some files in, and organize it. To start, I'm going to create a folder. I'm going to call this Soundstripe SFX. Now see, when I created this, it actually went inside the music folder, which is fine. I can simply go drag it into its own thing. So now I can just rearrange it a little bit, and notice if I drag it here with this solid blue line, it's going to go within the folder. But if I drag it where this border is, it's going to actually place it below the folder. Now I'm just going to hit the little plus button and navigate to where I have my sound effects, and I'm going to open it. Now that I've added this file, I can drag it within the folder I created. So when I drop down, it shows. Another way that you can add in sound effects is to drag and drop them in. So here I'll go right over here and select a bunch of them and just drag them into the sound effects panel. And I will select multiple of them and drag them into the group that I created. So now I have these nice sound effects grouped together in this folder. So I want to share one more quick power tip with you guys, and that is to go into your preferences, either by going to Ecamm and then preferences, or you can click this gear icon right here. And then at the top, go to your audio and look at the very last option. It's called Record Isolated Audio Tracks. I would highly recommend checking that box. This will give you separate recordings of each of your audio devices. So at the end of your stream, you'll have your master recording, but in addition, you'll also have a separate track which is just your mic and a separate track which is just your sound effects, which is super, super cool, because then you can go ahead and mute out the music you played during your stream and cut up your edits in different ways, add in different music, repurpose the content, have a ton of flexibility in post-production for editing just by clicking this little record isolated audio tracks. All right, guys, this has been fun. I hope that you have learned something and found some value from it. Alicio, thanks so much for having me on the video today. And, I hope that all of you have found some better understanding of the sound effects panel and are able to apply these awesome sound effects and some good music to your streams to level up your content.
Yo, shout out to Ben Johnson. That was amazing. Thank you for that, bro. If you have any questions about sound effects and the sound panel in Ecamm, make sure you leave all your questions in the comments here on the YouTube video. And also, don't forget to like this video and make sure you join us in the Facebook community over on Facebook. Man, we be lit in the Facebook group, man. So we will see you there. And until next time, thanks for watching Demo Mode Pros. Peace.